right, everybody, a new episode of The Art and the Artist. I am joined with Aaliyah today. Thank you so much for taking the time to come talk to me.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is so cool. I appreciate it.
No, yeah. I've been following you for a while, actually. I think it's when I got kind of aware of the Art Misfits collective.
Oh yeah.
And I started checking with, all right, and we'll talk about that one later too. But all right, so let's just start from the beginning then. Where are you from and where are you currently located?
So I'm from California. I grew up in a pretty small desert town
Okay.
in SoCal. So I'm used to the heat and all that.
Yeah.
Right now I'm actually still in California.
Mm-hmm.
I had moved out of California for a few years, but I came back and right now I'm just in Los Angeles. I'm going to school out here and stuff. So that's where I am right now.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So take me to sort of the beginning of your art journey when you're younger. What were you always just a creative person? Were you always creating, drawing, painting? Like, how did it all start?
Yeah, I mean, since I was a kid, I've been pretty creative. I kind of blame my mom for that. She's always been really creative and like crafty. She always liked to like redo furniture and do like stenciling on the walls and stuff like that. So she kind of got me into like coloring books and painting and just a bunch of stuff like that. But I've always been into it. I never really like practiced like I should. I guess you should say, like when people are really into something, like they just go in. Like I never did that as a kid. I didn't do it until I was older. So it was always just like a little hobby for me before, I guess you can say. So I was into a lot of other things. Like there was a lot of stuff that I was into. So
yeah, that's good. No, and also you're in full film school right now, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, I want to talk about that too, but not quite. Yeah, I think that's super dope. Okay, so then around what age or what time in your life when you realize, okay, I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously than I have before because I really have something, some talent here.
Well, I think it was after I want to say towards the end of my high school career, I guess, because I was really, really involved with music. I was growing up, even as a kid, like I learned how to play guitar when I was like 12. Then I learned bass guitar and then drums and all this other stuff. Yeah, like my family is very like musically oriented as well. So I just dove into music when I was in high school. Kind of was like a nerd, like in band and I was in choir and stuff like that. So it took me a while to kind of like go back to art in that sense because I was very like hands-on with the music and stuff like that. So I guess it was around like my senior year of high school when I was like, I hadn't taken any art classes, only music classes, and sports. I was in sports and stuff. So yeah, I think I was like almost 18, maybe 17 when I was like, I kind of want to just go back to art. Like it was calling to me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So when you got back into it, because you have some great digital work. Was it just the digital art in the beginning when you first started getting serious about it, or were you also painting and
no? I wasn't doing I was painting. Yeah, I wasn't doing any digital art when I first started. Like I guess I was, but it wasn't until later, while I was in college for the first time. But no, it was just pen and ink, pencil. I was just doing like, like I said, like using like coloring pencils and stuff like that. I did a couple of paintings of like my dogs, acrylic paintings. And then when I went into college for the first time, like my first 2 years, I was studying more fine art stuff and I was doing like a lot of ink and then I did oil painting and stuff like that. But I didn't finish doing that. I couldn't really like pay for it at the time, so I just couldn't keep doing it. And it was like a community college thing. So I was just like a lot of this stuff that I'm doing, I could teach myself. So I kind of was just I just stopped and then for a few years I was just teaching myself a lot of stuff. And that's when I got I think 2019 So when I first got my iPad and started doing like
Okay.
Procreate and digital stuff.
Yeah.
But before that, I think I did a couple of my first digital art was on like a mouse on Photoshop. Like I just
Yeah.
used my mouse to draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, that's their first sort of a experience with digital art. But no,
Right.
but what it's evolved to, I mean, it's something incredible, because I mean, like the pieces that you have pinned to your Instagram, right? Like those are the ones also that because you're on Object, you're on Foundation, I believe, with the NFTs. Now, do you still do the traditional art, the acrylic or oil painting and things like that? Or is it strictly digital now?
No, I do too. I started painting again last year.
Okay.
I hadn't painted in a while.
Yeah.
I moved to another state, and I was like doing stuff out there working. And I kind of was like in a little like depression era for a couple of years, honestly. And I wasn't really painting or drawing for like as much as I wanted to at all. So yeah, when I came back and stuff, I started painting again. And I every now and then I do like pencil sketches. I have like a little sketchbook that I take in my bag with me and stuff like that. So I always like to stay to my roots, you know?
Yeah, no, that's dope. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. So you said your mom was very creative and would, encourage you to be artistic when you were younger. So when you started, taking things more seriously, and, your mom sees, okay, I've got this, this great artist here. Was she supportive of you pursuing an art career?
Yeah, she was. She was, my parents have always been super supportive of whatever I wanted to do. So it was never like an issue with like when I was doing music, like they were all for that. Like when I was doing sports, they were all for that. Like it was just whatever I was doing, they were always, I was always blessed to have them, supporting me all the time. So yeah, she was for sure. She was trying to give me ideas, trying to get me out in like, like the community and stuff like that that I was in at the time. So yeah, she was very supportive. Both of them were.
That is beautiful. That's I mean, it's not everyone is afforded that, that support from their family.
Yeah.
So
I feel super lucky.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's great. Okay, so then I want to talk about maybe some of your influences. Would you say that the environment around you, like the community that you lived in, had an effect on the way maybe that you see things, the way that you create, or is it more like internally, where you pull your inspiration for some of your pieces?
It's really both. I think I'm like really drawn to my environment as far as like nature and like my surroundings. I'm very observant of where I am at all times and stuff like that. So I'm just like, I definitely use like the outside world as a lot of my settings, as where, where the setting of my drawings are, my illustrations, whatever I'm doing. I use that a lot as inspo. But I also think that a lot of the stuff that I've been creating in the last couple of years have been more emotional and more like internally driven and stuff like that. And I think I have like this whole thing where I'm like, I have like this alien persona, like, because I've always felt like that as a kid, like, like I couldn't, no matter what I tried to do or like where I was going or who I was with, I never felt like I fit in anywhere. So I was kind of just like, and that's where that whole arts misfit things come in too, which we talk about. But like, yeah, like that's why that drew me in for that too. So it was always just like this internal feeling of like not knowing where I belong, really. Like, I just felt like alien. So I was kind of just using space a lot as like a theme in a background, because it was kind of just like so unknown and like I don't know, it's so, at the time too, when I was creating these pieces, like a lot of times I was feeling like really alone and just like lost and stuff like that. So I think space helps to portray that feeling of just like open, loneliness and stuff like that. So I was using that for a while. I still do sometimes. I mean, I know it's like very open. You can use it however, but yeah, I don't know. I was using cartoons, anime, like old vintage comic books that I had like Spider-Man and the Hulk, and like Wonder Woman and a bunch of other like vintage comic books growing up. So like I use that for a lot of my inspiration too, as far as like colors and textures and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, because you know, like when you talk about space and feeling alone, especially with those pieces that like the pin ones on your Instagram, the ones that you have you know, NFTs for. Yeah, because that's exactly the feeling I got when I look at those. You know, it's the feeling of being alone in this giant empty space, you know, especially, I mean, I would say growing up in a big city, that is a feeling that a lot of people have, because even though there's so much going on, there's so many people around you, it's very easy to feel like you're alone in all of this madness. So yeah, that's yeah, those are absolutely wonderful pieces. Okay, since we brought up the art misfits, let's talk about that, because so yeah, I interviewed a couple of artists, Junebug and Ashley Monique, two fantastic artists.
I watched both of those interviews.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
So how did you get involved with them? They reached out to you, or did you have to submit and have them choose you to be a part of the collective?
No, they asked me.
I
think it was like, I felt like they were gonna ask me before they did, because it was kind of just like this like bond that we already kind of had, I think. Just being online and talking to each other on Twitter and stuff like that, and we had a group chat prior to the like official name, just to try to like, we kind of were like you know, testing the waters for how like the group would react to each other and how they get along and stuff like that, and just, you know, stuff like that. We just wanted to share art and find somewhere for us to, you know, socialize and feel comfortable. So no, yeah, I think they definitely they caught me off guard, but not really, you know what I mean?
No, you were ready for it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think it's so great when I found out about, you know, that collective, and it's people really from everywhere, you know. And that's the beauty of being an artist in, you know, today's society, is that you're not limited to your neighborhood, you know, or even your state, you know. It's literally people from all over the world, which is what, Junebug's in Maine or something like that. We did an interview, and you're in California, Ashley's in Canada. It's fantastic. So so do you think that, you know, having that community of artists, as opposed to, because I'm not sure if you're involved with any, you know, local maybe not collectives, but just artists around you that, you know, maybe go see shows together, or, you know, show each other your art and things like that? Okay. So do you are you the type of person that goes out to a lot of galleries and you know, go see shows and things like that? And also,
I mean,
I've got a second question with that is, do you find it more welcoming, the misfits, you know, online with that collective, or just the artists that you're around? Has it been sort of the same acceptance that you've experienced?
I can honestly say I think I've been lucky to meet some very genuine people out here in person, and like some really cool artists in person, and not only just like artists, but like musicians and producers, filmmakers. Like, I've been really fortunate to meet some really down-to-earth people. And I know like it's LA, it's not really, you know, I've met some weirdos too, you know what I mean? So it's like, you don't get so lucky all the time, but like I've gotten pretty blessed to meet some really cool people out here. And I think I felt the same in the arts misfits. Like it's always been that just, you know, open communication, like, you know, truly just genuine vibes, like all around, like strictly. There has been a few bumps, you know, obviously, like there's when it comes to social media and especially social media artists, like people who are like on there, you know, trying to sell their stuff or trying to promote and, you know, just posting their work in general. I think it can get kind of drama and, you know.
Oh yeah.
you know, stuff can get kind of weird sometimes, but we've never really had that issue for too long. It's always been cleared and we've always been able to move on. And it's just, it's cool because I'm like, you know, I hate having to deal with that type of stuff in person too. So I'm like, I steer clear from that.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's I always say this, it's this generation, you know, like your generation of artists are really, I mean, taking art and what it means to be an artist, you know, to a new level, you know, because everyone is so not, well, obviously not everyone, but for the majority, I mean, at least the people that I've met online or, you know, going to shows or reaching out to artists to interview, it's always so supportive. You know, everyone is very, very supportive.
Yeah.
And also another thing too with this new generation, something that I've noticed with a lot of show openings going out around LA is that even those are evolving too. You know, usually it's, you know, you go to a show, you know, there's music, you know, maybe they'll have some drinks for you. But I just went to a show where, you know, there was a fashion show. There were, you know, 2 different DJs. It was, I saw a man wrestle a painting. And it was very strange.
It was LA, like I can't even be surprised.
But you know what? It was one of the funnest shows I ever been to. It was fantastic. But yeah, so yeah, the new generation of artists are really elevating what it means to be an artist. And even I see a lot of young people now collecting art and you know, and just, you know, posting about it. It's super cool to see, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I even like, as far as like collecting stuff, like I've collected some of my own favorite artists, like NFTs myself. And I'm just like, I never really thought, like a year ago, I never thought that I would be doing that. So
yeah,
it's so cool.
All right, I want to talk about NFTs, right? Because I mean, you've got some fantastic ones. How did you get into that? Was that always when you started doing digital art? Was that something that you were already looking into, or okay? So how did that get started? Because it's kind of a process, right? It's not like you just go to the website and upload your stuff. There's a bunch of steps you got to take to really get it going. So how did that start for you?
Yeah, it took me a couple years. I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very hesitant to get into NFTs. Especially because like I wasn't as present in social media or on social media as far as like the art side of Twitter, you know? I was always posting my art, but I wasn't on art Twitter. So a lot of people weren't seeing it. I wasn't getting engagement. I wasn't getting, you know, really any traction for a long time. So like moving into digital art and seeing how big the space was on Twitter, like the actual art scene on Twitter, how big it was. I kind of started to be more active and more social in the community. And that was a couple of years ago when I first really started to like be more active in art community online. As my own, you know, like my own self-proclaimed artist. So moving into NFTs, I was kind of alone. I didn't really have anybody yet that I trusted with that type of stuff, or like who could kind of counsel me on like what it was or how to do it and stuff. So it took me a couple of years because I researched it all myself. Like I was just like, I need to know like the ins and outs. I need to know how to do it. I need to know like the risks and all this other stuff. But it got to a point where I was like, I know all this stuff and I'm not doing anything with it. So once I actually randomly had another collective of people ask me if I wanted to be in that the object drop. And then when they asked me to do that, I was like, this is absolutely perfect timing. Like I wanted to drop my own anyway. And why not do it with some names and artists and, you know, people that are incredibly talented and absolutely amazing and supportive, you know what I mean? So that was like one of the best ways that I could have gone back into NFTs because I had only dropped one before I did that collection.
Okay, awesome. These that's right. It's this what is it? The Pure
XTZ one,
okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right, so
part of 2 collectives. That's super dope.
Yeah, we're there. I think the Pure XTZ, I think we're gonna drop some more stuff this year. I'm not sure exactly when, but we're all talking about it and you know, trying to get stuff worked out. So
Okay.
I'm excited for the next one.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. All right. So what do you think is more challenging then? Because I mean, when it at the end of the day, when it comes down to, I mean, artists make art, I mean, because I feel like they have to, right? It's in them, but you want someone to collect it, right? Yeah, I mean, you want people to see it. That's sort of the point. So is it, in your opinion, easier with the digital art or more traditional style of art, like just regular painting?
Well, it's hard for me to say. And I only say that because when like I said, when I was first posting my art on Twitter, nobody was seeing it. And what I was posting was traditional art mostly.
Okay.
So, and I can't really even say that because later when I got my iPad and stuff, I was still posting my digital art, but like, it's really hard for me to tell like what does better, what
Sure.
more attention, just because I wasn't like really in where I was supposed to be in
Oh, I
that
see what you mean.
space. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
was kind of just throwing it out there and not just for myself, I guess.
Okay.
So, but once I really started posting it for other people to see as well, not just for myself, because I was still always doing it for myself, but when I posted, for other people to see too, that's when I realized, like it really doesn't matter. I don't think. Like I think you just, as long as it's people like it, it's gonna do. You're gonna get what you get. So, and it's social media, so sometimes you can't even expect.
Yeah, you're right. You
know
what, that
you can't expect anything.
Yeah, because I'll see something incredible. I'm like, hold on, it's got like 6 likes. This just makes no sense. Then you see some, some I hate to talk bad about art, but you see something that is very low effort and everyone loves it because it's like some
there's
kind of
bad
popular
art.
person.
I mean, in my opinion, I
absolutely there really is. Yeah. Okay. So then, all right. So I saw that you had a bunch of I guess like album cover commissions, right? All right. So did that sort of influx start once you got a little bit more serious with the posting and join these collectives? Because I mean, you've got a bunch of them. It looks like people are really reaching out to you to, for your work. So how has that experience been? And just commissions in general, is it usually, do you have the freedom to sort of put your stamp on what they want, or is it people come to you and say, I want exactly this, I want you to do this? Like, how was that process been for you?
I've been doing commissions for a very long time, even before I was in the art Twitter community or anything like that. So, and I was doing like paintings for my family, I was doing friends, I was doing cover art for people who had 2 followers on SoundCloud. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was doing SoundCloud cover arts, like just for cheap, like $20, like for when I first started, you know what I'm saying? So like,
I assume the price has gone up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Definitely. But I don't know. I think it's always been one of my favorite things to do is cover art, I think, because usually if most of the clients that I get, usually they're like, oh, you have free reign, like do whatever you want. I love your style, do whatever. And I'm like, okay, but like that doesn't, as a commission and as like the artist doing the commission, that feels great, but you're like, okay, but like where do I start? Like what is the song about? Like what do you like what do you what's the vibe of it? Like I don't, you just have to have something like, what colors do you want? Do you like, so they may hate like the color blue and I'm like using blue all over it. And they're like, oh, I don't like this and I have to change it, so there's certain things in the beginning that I've learned over time to like just make sure that I get across. But for the most part, people are pretty cool about it. They're just like, whatever. And I'm like, all right. So I just do whatever. And it comes out great. But I'm like, usually there have been very, very tough moments, a couple of tough clients. That make me just want to be like, I'm done with commissions forever. Like, people are too picky, or they're too like last minute, like they want last minute changes, stuff like that. Or like sometimes like musicians in general specifically don't pay the set price, they were just like, oh, like can you just do something simple? And then like, I'm like, no,
cut the
it's
price
gonna
in
be an
half.
original cover.
Yeah.
No, but
Oh man. Okay, well that's yeah, because I saw all those covers. There's one poster you put up. I'm sure it's not all of them, but a bunch of them up there, and I thought these are fantastic, absolutely
thank
wonderful.
you.
Yeah, super
Yeah,
talented. Okay, all right.
definitely one of my
So,
favorite things.
oh really? Oh yeah, yeah. You're great at it. You really are. It's really good.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about film school. And hold on, you know
Yes.
what? Before I get into that, I saw this, I guess, animation that you put together.
Mhm.
I'm sure you have more. I'm not, I forgot which one. I forgot what it was called. But is that also something that you're looking into exploring, the animation with your digital art?
Was it the montage that I posted, or was it the
It was
actual?
someone in a car.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
talking
That
about?
was
Okay.
for one of my friends. He asked me for like a promo GIF loop or
Oh,
something,
okay.
like a loop that he could just post and be like, my song's coming out soon.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, like I really that was like one of the first animations that I've done on Procreate,
Okay.
just strictly using Procreate, and it was a pain, let me tell you.
Really? Really?
It took me so long
Yeah.
to paint and to do all of it because I could only use 30 layers.
Well, okay,
For
sure.
some reason, because this is when I had first kind of like the first year, within the first year that I got my iPad, I think, or the first 2 years. And I didn't have a lot of iPad storage. I didn't realize like Procreate, like you have to
Yeah.
save it to your iCloud to get more space on Procreate as the
Yeah.
app. So I was just using up all the space and I couldn't have more than 30 layers and I didn't realize. So
Yeah.
I did that to myself on
Uh,
accident, but I could only use 30 layers and it was just a nightmare. And I had to paint and draw the whole thing by hand and it took me hours,
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
But it came out really cute. I really like it. That's definitely something I want to keep doing,
Okay.
just in a different way. I have different tactics now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been
Sure.
so
Yeah.
hard for me,
Yeah.
but there's another one on my Instagram. It's a reel that I did. It's like a
Okay.
little sketch
Mhm.
animation. It's a 2D
Seen
one.
that one? Oh, sure.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like a girl, and then like there's different angles of her and stuff like that. She like blinking, crying and stuff.
Hmm.
But that was the another animation that I was testing like
Okay.
on Procreate because I was like, is there has to be an easier way to do this? Like this shouldn't take so long. And so I was practicing and I did that. So I was just like, you know what, there's definitely
Hmm.
some what's it called? There's something here. Like I can keep
Yeah.
playing with this, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm
That's
going to school for animation and visual
oh, okay.
effects.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted
So
to talk about.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So was that all right? So when you're in the beginning, when you're going to college and you're doing the art thing, was that always in the back of your mind that you wanted to be well, I mean, essentially like an animator, right? Was that something that you were always thinking about or something that you kind of fell into? Because I mean, you're going to college for it, so
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I had gone to college before this.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm 26. I just turned 26.
Hmm.
So I didn't think like that I would have to do this because I was like, oh, like when I get straight out of high school, I'm just gonna go to college and I want to, and then
Hmm.
do what I need to do and be good. But that didn't happen. So I was like, I always wanted to go to LA film. Like that was like
Yeah.
something that I always wanted to do, whether it was for because I wanted to be an actress. Like when I was younger, I
Okay.
wanted to be an actress. I took like acting classes at
Yeah.
like Hollywood Center Studios and stuff like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like I was trying to be an actress at the time, but like my family was just way too big and like we didn't have enough money
Yeah.
to really do anything.
Those
So
classes are expensive too. Yeah.
yeah, and like I could have done some other stuff, and my parents just were involved with a lot of other things, and like at the
Mhm.
time they just couldn't give me that attention, like to really like being acting is like a huge deal, you know what I mean? So it's kind
Yeah.
of just like
Yeah.
they didn't know what to do about it.
Sure.
So I was just like, maybe I shouldn't go, and then I just questioned myself because it was a lot of money, and I wasn't
Hmm.
sure yet. So I
Hmm.
think in the end, in the long run, it was worth waiting. Like it was probably worth waiting just to figure out what I truly wanted to do.
Yeah.
But animation was always very interesting to me. Like I said, cartoons, anime,
Yeah.
comics, those were always very like intriguing to me as far as
Okay.
like styles, the different styles and like how they did it and stuff growing up. I was always wondering like, how what goes into this,
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I think I like somewhere deep down I always wanted to be an animator.
Hmm.
Um, but I just didn't know it until I tried other things, you know what I'm saying? So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Okay, so then now that you're in it right now, is it what you expected? Is there, I'm sure there's a lot of new things you had to learn, but since you are already, an artist and are already been creating for such a long time, was it that much of a learning curve, or was it something you picked up pretty easily?
No, yeah, like when I first went to college, it was a community
Mm,
college. I took classes for 3D art. So I had
okay.
started using Maya, which is like the main program that like is like an industry-wide program that
Hmm.
they use. I started using that, but I never
Okay.
got far enough to for it to stick.
I
So
see.
after all the years of not using it, I forgot and blah blah. So when I came back, it definitely was like okay, like some things clicked and then some
Sure.
things were like new and you know what I mean.
Hmm.
But I'm a pretty fast learner.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I was pretty much teaching myself like a lot of stuff. Like I taught myself like Photoshop,
Yeah.
Illustrator, After Effects. Like I was
Yeah.
teaching myself all this stuff, not even in school. So I'm like, sometimes I'm like in school and I'm like, dude, I could be like learning this on my own. But then there's certain things in like the curriculum that have to do with film specifically
Oh,
and
sure.
how to work with movies and film specifically as a VFX artist. So
Yeah.
that's the part that I'm like, okay, like this is needed. Like it's
Hmm.
more hands-on and it's more, you just the networking is crazy. Like
Yeah.
for sure. Every day I meet somebody
Oh,
cool.
that's true. Yeah.
And like,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
networking
So,
matters too. Yeah. It
yes.
absolutely
So
does.
I really enjoy it so far.
Okay. So are you a fan of like the Marvel movies and stuff like that? I mean, as far as, the VFX that goes into making those, because I mean, it's pretty incredible. Or are
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Cause yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
said you were
do.
into comics and
I watch all the movies. Like I keep
yeah.
up. Like
Yeah. No, yeah, me
I'm a big fan.
too.
I'm maybe not the storyline's biggest
Sure.
fan, but
Sure.
VFX
Yeah.
for sure. They definitely kill it. And I know that there's been a couple of movies where I sat there and was like, what was that? Like,
Yeah.
but then,
Yeah.
there's been moments where I'm like, ooh, like that was not good or something. But I think it's just me like actually starting to notice things more
Yes. Yeah.
after learning how
Hmm.
it's done. And I'm like, ooh, like, that's just how my brain, that's how I was with music too. Like when I was in choir,
Sure. Yeah.
like as soon as I heard like a song on the radio, I was like, ew, like this is
Yeah.
bad. Or something, or like his voice is out of key or, just
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Uh-huh. No, I know exactly. Yeah, you know what? I come from like a pretty musical family too. And
nice.
I started playing the bass when I was 12. And
Cool.
now I can hear, yeah, if I hear like a live band or something, and I can hear, oh, well, he didn't tune that bass before they started
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you
It's
mean.
like, yeah, our brains, our ears are just start
Yeah,
tuning to it.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm,
Yeah,
for
I tuned a guitar by ear one time and someone thought it was the most incredible thing. And I thought, no, it's practice. I
I
mean,
used to be able to do that.
yeah.
Not anymot but I
Uh
can still play.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
can
tuning
imagine.
by ear is pretty cool. I mean, if you can do that,
Yeah.
you got that, you got the ear.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta go. Okay. So now that you're in film school, still making art, what do you, if you had, just your choice of jobs after you graduated, is there something that you're eyeing? Is there something that you want to do in particular in that field?
Right now, I'm like 6 months into school, right? So like
Hmm.
I kind of can already tell where I'm gonna be going as far as like what I'm gonna like more out of like what
Hmm.
I'm doing. Maybe not so like definitely, but I can kind of tell.
Sure.
So I'm just like, I think right now what I'm leaning towards is more of like definitely animation, but I know that the animation that they do at LA Film is specifically 3D. So it's all going to be 3D animations. It's not really anything else, it's just 3D.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, I know like visual effects are a big thing. Lighting and stuff like that is really interesting to me, as far as like environmental lighting and just, you know, different types of lighting is just very interesting to me. And as far as like a scene goes, like in a scene, or whether it be animation or not, I think that's one of the big routes that I'm going to start going towards, is like mostly doing that, because there's, you know, everyone needs somebody who knows how to do that, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to always be like a job. But I definitely do want to write some more. I know I was writing a lot as a kid, and, you know, up until now, but I never really wrote as far as like for screenwriting and stuff like that. So I started wanting to get into that more maybe like a year or two ago. So I did start a couple of like short film script drafts and stuff like that for my own, just to see, you know, like just to test it out, because I really like to write and stuff. So I think that's one of the things that I really want to start getting into too.
Well, that's dope. That's awesome. I mean, and you're at the place to be too. So I mean, you know, it's funny, growing up in LA, you know, now that you're older, you see the people who, like, I remember being in high school and my friends making like small little, you know, short films on a camcorder, you know what I mean? And now some of these guys are, you know, doing really big things in Hollywood. So yeah, LA is, I mean, it's different if you've grown up here and you know the city and you know the places to go. But coming out here as, you know, an adult, someone not knowing much about the city, it's easy to get crushed. But it really is the place to be if that's what you're trying to get into.
Yeah. And there's so many, like, I love so many different aspects of film. It's kind of, it's going to be hard for me to choose like what to do. I'm just going to do all of it, I think. I don't know, like, because like I took like photography classes before I was taking art classes, and like I was very like, I don't know, cameras. I just liked cameras, and like I like to take pictures. I was like, you know, compiling my own videos and making my own videos and collages, and, you know, I was basically like shooting and editing my own videos. So I was
that's dope.
I was doing that before I realized that's what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang, if I can mix both, like that would be super cool. Like my art with movies and stuff. Like I'm like, why not do that? So here I am.
Why not? All right, I'm already following, but I will keep my eye out.
Thank you.
Feel greatness coming at you. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so have you shown? I know you have the drops on, like, you know, with the collectors online as far as the NFT goes, but have you had any like local shows, any gallery shows, anything like that? Or are you even interested in doing something like that?
Yeah. So, well, okay. I guess you can't say it's local, but I was asked to be in a show that was in Art Basel in November, or when was it? December? Yeah, so it was in Miami. They asked me to, I didn't go to Miami like in person myself. I wish I could have. It was just a lot, really last minute, I think. Plus school month was crazy. Anyway, so they asked me like, oh, hey, we love your work. We think it fits our theme. If you want to, we will display your art at Art Basel. And I was in our little curated show. And I was like, yes. So like I did my little research behind, you know, who was asking me and whatnot, and like who it was and the curators and stuff, just to make sure. But it was pretty legit. And I was like, okay, this is like definitely something I want to start doing anyway. So that was kind of my first step into like being like having my art displayed more so, because I never really did have my art like put up, besides like some hometown like community coffee shop had a couple of my paintings up for a while, but that was like the only thing I had really done. So yeah, I definitely want to start doing more stuff, especially locally. I know LA has like so many different opportunities and things that you can do. So I think it's really more about me just trying to find the right people to like really like start talking to and
Yeah.
networking with, because it's a big ass place. Like it's a big place, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, there's a lot to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely have my eye on actually showcasing my art more for
Okay.
sure.
I know a lot of artists when they create, they well, let me rephrase that. There are a certain number of artists who like to show parts of themselves into the pieces that they make, right? Not just coming up with the concept and executing it, but really showing a piece of who they are within their artwork. And I know we talked about feeling sort of isolated and that showing into your work, but do you draw from your own emotions when you're making these pieces in order to give, the viewers maybe not an entire, complete book of who you are, but like a little glimpse into your personality? Because when I do see these pieces, these like the pieces that you have on like object or what is the other one, on foundation, are very sort of, they're sort of dark. I'm not dark as in, like evil, but like the color schemes are sort of dark with hints of brightness in them. Is that on purpose to really show the vastness of the space of your pieces, or is it just like an aesthetic thing, like you just like the way it looks?
Oh yeah, I think like I said, like lighting has always been a big
Yeah.
thing in
Yeah.
my head, like as far as like
Hmm.
what I want the environment to look like and feel.
Hmm.
Lighting has always been something that I want to utilize in order to do that. So it's for sure intentional.
Hmm.
The contrast I really
Yeah.
want for sure, because that's gonna make you feel,
Hmm.
a certain way. So
Yeah.
yeah, big on that, big on the lighting. I definitely did that on purpose. I know I try to do that a lot in all my
Yeah.
pieces. Like I
Yeah.
try to make that like a key thing in feeling what
Yes.
the piece is supposed to invoke.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. And you do a great job with the light. It really like comes through. Yo, it's fantastic. There was a piece that you made. I just want to talk about it because I thought it was cool. You redrew was it Reggie Rocket to make it look more
Yeah.
like you? Oh, that was so awesome. Yeah, I was showing my dad. I was like, look,
Dude,
look what you
that
did.
is
That's
so old too. I forgot about that. Like
the thing that I loved about it the most is she, drinking a cactus cooler. I'm not sure if that's like a
yes,
West Coast thing because a lot of people
it
don't know what
is.
that is.
It's
Yeah.
only like a California thing,
Yeah.
for real. Because I
Uh-huh.
lived in Virginia Beach for a few years and it was
Oh,
nowhere.
really?
Nowhere to be found. No one knew
Yeah.
what it was. Like, yeah. It's just
No, yeah.
a Cali
That's
thing.
yeah, that one made me feel like, oh man, yeah, that's some California stuff right
That's
there. I
one of my
love that.
favorite drinks. That's why I
Yeah.
even I was like,
Yeah.
gotta do this. I'm on the beach somewhere in this cartoon. Like,
Uh-huh. No, I don't know. I really love that piece. It's fantastic.
thank you so much. Yeah, that
You
was
know,
a funner just side project. I was
yeah.
just
Uh-huh. No, yeah, I get it.
get this off my chest. That's how you can tell too. Like cartoons really
Yeah.
influenced me.
Yeah. No, it's great. Okay, so you've got when you scroll through your IG and you kind of see, once you get lower, like the beginnings of it, like sort of how you've kind of changed your styles and things like that. You have these pieces that are like geometrical shapes,
Mm,
just different, more abstract, I would say, than
mhm.
some of your newer pieces. Would you ever like, what is this? This one is one of my favorite. It's pretty old. It's called Symphony. I'm not even sure if you remember which one I'm talking about because I made it a
Yes,
while ago. Okay, yes. Like
I know which one you're
things
talking.
like things in that sort of style. Do you still create things like that, or is it something that I don't want to say that you're leaving in the past, but you're just more focused on a different style of art, especially being in film school and doing, more digital, VFX sort of things. That sort of like that older style that you were using, is it something that you would go back to or get back into?
Yeah. Like I said, like I really want to start dabbling back into my roots, like of traditional art. Like I started
Yeah,
painting again, and like I got a sketchbook specifically so that I don't have an excuse not to do it. And I'm just
yeah,
like, I definitely like that whole pointillism that I was using in that
sure.
piece too. Like I had used that pointillism in a lot of other pieces because
Yeah,
that was something that I was really into at the time. And I realized like, oh, hey, I'm kind of good at it. Like it's really fun, it's calming, it's relaxing. So I was the crazy thing is like when I was doing art at the time, at like the time that I made that symphony piece, before that piece, I was strictly making art um for fun, like
sure.
just to as a distraction, I think, as something to just focus on and lose time, you know.
Okay.
And it was very relaxing for me, so I was kind of using it as an escape more so.
Okay.
But when I did that symphony piece,
Yeah.
I remember it so well because that was one of the first times that I actually used some type of like emotion that was
Oh,
not only mine, but like I felt was someone else's as well. So I felt like that was the
mhm.
first time I was really able to like kind of draw something that I felt emotionally connected with.
Yeah.
Um, so that piece is really crazy to me too. Like I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that piece. That's one of my
yeah,
favorite ones. Yeah, it's
thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
No, I for sure want to keep doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, look, I mean, you do so many things very well. I mean, it's to find the time, you know.
Right,
Okay, and
right.
that's yeah, time is precious, you know. And
Yeah.
that's okay. That brings me to another question that I like to ask. Because now you're in school, uh, you have to take time to create. You have to have a life. I mean, you can't just be stuck indoors, you know, going to school and doing homework and just creating. First question is, how do you find the time to kind of balance everything out? And my second question is, hold on, now it just escaped my mind. Okay, how do you find the time? Oh, and also, what do you do in your spare time to help you just kind of relax other than making art? What else do you like to do?
Okay, those are easy questions.
Mhm.
So I guess I'll answer the first one or the second one first, just because
Okay,
it's in my mind right now. But
okay.
I actually love video games. So
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm I'm kind of like sometimes I feel cursed that I love video games so much because there has been times where I should be drawing and
Sure.
I'm playing games. So
Yeah.
I've gotten better at that, but
Yeah.
yeah, like video games definitely. I play all kinds of games
Yeah.
too. Like
What system do you use? Or you like
I had a
computers?
PS4 for a lot.
Okay.
Like I have a PS4 still, and I
Yeah.
had it forever, like
Mhm.
maybe 5 years now. But before that, I was always on PlayStations. Like just
Yeah.
I went on up the line of PlayStations, and
Yeah.
now that I have a computer, like I'll play like Sims 4 on
Sure.
it, like just building stuff and like
Yeah.
just stuff like that, calming games.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was playing like a lot of shooters and
Yeah. Yeah.
like RPG games on
Beautiful.
PlayStation.
That's dope.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I finished Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is my shit. Like I love it.
That is dope. That's so
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? Yeah, because adults playing video games get sort of a bad, you know, I would say less now,
Yeah,
a
less now,
little bit less now, but
thankfully.
yeah. Because you know what?
No, yeah.
I still every now and again play video games. And I grew up, I remember, I think I might have been 13 when PlayStation 1 came out. And that, I mean, I've been a PlayStation guy ever since then, you know, but now I've got kids. I've been playing Zelda Breath of the Wild for the second time after I
Ooh,
beat it. It's a but yeah, it's a good way to, pass the time and help you relax. I completely understand. That's
yeah, for
wonderful.
sure. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I don't, and as far as the time thing goes, I don't even know how to describe
Yeah.
how I find the time. I just know if there's something I gotta do, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I make it happen. Like there,
Okay.
especially when I first like us around last summer is when
Mhm.
I first moved back out to like the LA area by myself. And I was like,
Mhm.
I kind of didn't know I was gonna move before I moved. It kind of some stuff happened and like I had to
Sure.
move really quick. So that was when I first started school as well. So I was starting school, had to move, didn't know where I was going to go. And I was starting 2 new jobs all at the same time.
Jeez.
And this was in like September, I want to say.
Okay.
So all I know is I made whatever happen while all of that was going on. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I did it, but I just did it. And I knew that I had to get it done, and I did it. So every time I feel overwhelmed right now, like in the space that I'm in right now, I'm like, I just look back and I'm like, I did all of this, it's not like I can't do it again. I just like, I talk myself and I'm like, you can do it, find the time. And I prioritize a lot. That's a lot. Social stuff is always going to be in the lower part of my list because I'm like an extroverted introvert. So, I have to like build up to being social. Like if I have to know I'm going somewhere and like have hours in advance to like, psych myself up a little, but yeah, like social stuff is definitely what helps me keep going though. You know what I'm saying? Like I definitely love to go out with friends and my family. I love my family. We always like we'll meet up because we all live in different places in California right now. All within like an hour or two away, maybe, but still we're all busy and we can hardly ever see each other. So it's like whenever we do have time, we're definitely gonna go do some stuff. Like
that's good. Okay. Yeah. You got to balance it out.
Got it.
I mean, it's good to hustle. You know what I mean? But excuse me. But because that burnout is real. That absolutely
hustle culture is crazy.
Yeah.
In America specifically.
Yeah.
Just want us to work until we die, and it's
really, yeah.
Because that's what the generations did. I mean, before. So it's like,
no, you're right. It's go to college, get married, work, and then and then work until you die. It's horrible.
And I'm like, I've done like pretty much all of that already. So I'm like, why not just do what I want?
Absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
As long as it gets me
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right, we're getting to the end of this interview. I got a couple of just questions I like to ask that people like to hear. My first question is, if you could go anywhere in the world, 6 months or however long you want to create and be inspired, like your dream place to go, where would it be?
Damn. I'll probably say Spain, just because I'm half Spanish and I've always wanted to go. It's so pretty out there. And I think that it would just feel very like, I don't know, just like at home. Like I'd feel very at home out there with like, as far as like nature, like I said, I really like the outdoors and just like naturey environments and stuff. So I don't know. I think I would really like the culture and stuff too. As far as like vacation type of, going for relaxation. Yes. Like
absolutely.
Quiet.
Okay. All right. I get it. All right. So before I ask my last question, where is the best place for people to find your work at? Where can they see everything that you drop?
So right now, I think Instagram is my main hub for all updates. I mainly post things on my Instagram stories. I like to just give people little sneak peeks of stuff. And then when I'm done, I'll like post it afterward. So I think that's where people can find my stuff as far as like most updated stuff.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. All right. So my last question is, what's one piece of advice that you give to a young artist, an up and coming artist, that you wish someone had told you when you were younger?
I think one of the biggest ones, and I think it still is a big thing, is not being worried about finding a specific style or having a specific look to your art. I think I struggled with that for a while, a long time, because I was like, my art doesn't look like it has a category, or, you know, it's not something that's eye-catching enough, or, you know, whatever it may be as far as style wise goes. Like there's a lot of different styles and there's a lot of different ways to do something. And I think, you know, being stuck on not having a style is what prevents people from trying new things.
So, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's very important. I should have definitely, I wish I knew that a little earlier, because I would have stepped out of my comfort zone way earlier.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, you're right. Okay. All right. Well, Aaliyah, thank you so much for your time, and
thank you.
Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much. You have one too.
I will. Thank
Appreciate you.